It's nice to see you and to meet you, Liane Pinto. In a few months, we will be doing a congress in Poland, and you will have a lecture there. And that's why we have this conversation today to invite for your lecture and for this congress. Okay, Liane, can you say a little bit about your professional way, because it's quite interesting.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you also here. It's a pleasure being invited for your group for the Congress. It will be a pleasure participate and give my best for help Polish people to learn more and more about therapy and communication. So I am a psychologist, specialized in clinical psychology since 1999. And I had thousands of clients because I really dedicate big part of my life, more than, I think, 32 years only in the clinic as psychologist. And I studied many different things, many different approach. I did 2 master's degrees in the university. One in psychopedagogy, is about education, and the other one in public health. And I was a teacher in university also for a student that was in the second level, is after the graduation. We call post-graduation. No, if it's the same word.
Yeah.
It's the same word. So it's for this kind of student, and it was psychotraumatology. So we were studying psychotraumatology in this course. And for years, many years, I was in the university. And for many years, more than 20 years, I also dedicate my time for collective trauma. So I was working with victims of robberies in banks. And after some banks, I started to work with collective trauma in other organizations, institutions, factories, in places where something very big affected the clients or the customers, or so for many years, like accidents or other big problems for the collective group.
Yeah, and I read that you were learning from Peter Levine himself, and you were assisting with his trainings. So you know Peter, and you are as a teacher, and you can give your knowledge through webinars and through trainings to other people, to other SE practitioners, for example.
Yeah, for my luck, Peter came to Brazil for many years. Every year he was coming to Brazil because he liked Brazil, he liked the people there, and it was the only place in this time, 2003, 2004, it was the unique place that Peter still was teaching at advanced level, because he stopped to teach SE only for masterclass or other workshops, but the SE level, like advanced, only in Brazil in this time. So
he liked it, as you said.
Yeah, was very nice, learn from himself. He was giving advanced 1 and advanced 2, and every year I was there as assistant in his workshops. So it was nice. And of course, I tried to follow him even when he stopped to visit Brazil. He started to teach only in Switzerland, in Denmark. So I was there with him 2 or 3 times also.
So you are in different places in the world, and you are teaching there, and you are helping people who need help.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And now,
started to teach in Brazil, and then I went to Argentina, and then I come to Spain, where I am now,
yes,
and then in Barcelona, specifically in Barcelona. And then I started to teach in Romania, and then in Portugal. I also teach a little bit for two trainings in France.
yes,
And I was giving some support for other
yeah,
students from other
yeah.
countries in Europe. And
Yeah, and you were also supporting humanitarian task force, Ukrainian task force. You were giving some webinars there last
did
year,
it.
I guess. So we can we can Google it and find this this webinar about self-care during the crisis, I
Yes.
guess. Okay, so we can also find it and hear you there. Okay, Liane, you will be giving the lecture about the communication and empathy in the therapeutic process. Can you say something about it, what it can contain, and yes, what it can contain? A few
Yes,
words
of
about.
course. As you know, after the polyvagal theory, Borges is, and SE also, Borges and Peter, changing a lot the therapy field, because we really realize that the most important thing in therapy is the relationship between the client and the therapist. And our relationship as mammals, as we are mammals, start with the communication. So the non-verbal communication and the verbal communication. So in this lecture, we will talk not about only what we say for our clients, but how we say, what kind of words, what kind of questions, how the prosodia can affect someone, regulating or dysregulating the nervous system.
So you say that the prosodia can influence the process, not only very high level of knowledge the therapist can have, but it's also important to know how to make this contact.
Yeah, yeah. And we can try now. If I started to talk to you using another tone, of more volume in my voice and more quickly, I affect your nervous system one way. If I say the same words slowly with pause, I am affecting your nervous system in another way.
Yes.
So different stimulations in our cortex and subcortical area.
Yes, so it's not only knowledge, but the way we are with the clients is important.
Yeah, this is the reason empathy is in the lecture also. We will talk about the empathy.
Yeah, so we can create the space between the client and therapist in many different ways of being. Okay.
And it's not so easy as we think is easy, because sometimes we change from empathy to fusion. Or sometimes because our empathy, we disempower our client. So this is very delicate. So how I can be empathic and give support, but not let the person in the place of victim, you know? So there is some details in this relationship, in this way to talk, to be, to relate with the other, that we will invite to reflect and to think during this lecture.
Yeah. When you say so, I can imagine that this is a kind of dance, that we can be closer to each other, and then it's just like it is. I like this dancing idea of it.
Yeah.
Okay, Liane, I'm interested if you can say any tips or any advice how we in those times of crisis, because there are crises, different crises everywhere. How can we people regulate our nervous system in everyday life?
Yeah, we in the world, around the world, there is a lot of crisis, many different kind of crisis, political, economy, social, and others, you know. And I invite people, include I do it with myself every day, to observe. The first step is observe how I am today. If I notice that I'm not in my best, if I'm not balancing, so use resources. For people that doesn't know what is resources, is do things or stay with things or people or environment that really create more regulation in the nervous system. So sometimes, if it's necessary, if I feel that I'm not so good, I can go to meditate a little bit before walk, or I can move myself, stretch, do yoga, do before I go to speech, or before assume some tasks, or so we can first observe how we are and then start use the resources, and the resources can be grounded. So feel the feet in the floor, push our legs, push a little bit our back in the chair or against the wall, in order to feel more awareness, feel more our sense of perception, interoception. And if it's necessary, if I feel that I'm a little bit not in my body, a little bit dissociated, we can touch. The touch is very helpful.
Yeah.
And I can touch like that as I am doing, or the tapping. All of this is in the Peter Levine books, the oldest books that he did. So some of this in my whole body, I can use the V sound. Who watches Peter knows that he used this, and this the two letters V and U together, and large, like the boat sound, the ship sound. Boom. And self-touch, like hands in the viscerals, in the chest and in the belly. Yeah. And also observe, if I will say me, because it's about us, if I am feeling that I'm grabbing, be sucked to the traumatic vortex, I have to come back again. So it's more observation than anything else. We, in general, we say don't watch a lot of television, because the television is emphasizing the trauma, the terrible things, and repeating and repeating. And these images will also threat our nervous system. So we suggest that only watch what is really necessary to be oriented, but not be grabbed, not be involved in all these terrible news.
Yes.
And do our best to do our task, what we can do. So I have my job, I have to do my job, not be, I know that's normal, be afraid about future, but if I live my present moment in my best way, in case the reality change, I will not be as traumatized as if I started to be nervous before, you know.
Yes.
It's worse because we become more weak. If I started to imagine terrible things, I'm living the trauma, even though the trauma is not the reality outside me. Did you understand what I?
Yes,
I
yes.
don't know if
So
it was clear.
it's not to be somewhere else, but try to be in our own body as much as it's possible in every moment, and just check it, to check if I'm in my body, and if I feel that there is something that is outside of me, I can ground myself or just feel my body, and it's the most important, no matter what happens, to be and to decide what I will do.
Yeah, and of course, we can help people. There is people that are worse than us, that is in difficult situations. It's important to give some support without fusion, without lose our place. And I will do what is possible for me, because, you know, one of us, maybe if we go to the gym, I can hold 10 kilos or 5 kilos, but not 20. So I will do what my body can do, what my soul can do, considering my possibilities and respecting my limits and my possibilities.
Yeah, and it's a great advice, and we should sometimes repeat it every day to ourselves as a therapist, as EC practitioners, that we can do our best, and sometimes we are not able to do much more because it's too much, because we also need to respect our own energies and boundaries. Yeah, so this is a good advice also for therapists and SE practitioners, for ourselves.
And I had this in pandemic. There was a moment that I was losing myself, so I was so tired. I said, okay, I'm so sorry, I have to give up to do this volunteer work. I have to say no for some invitations because it was too much. I had to take care of myself also.
Yes.
And I could survive. If we don't take care of ourselves, we will be involved in the trauma, in the pain, and we will be more people, more 2 or 3 people involved in the situation. So someone has to be more or less good to rescue others, to help others.
Yeah, and sometimes, as you said, that we need to know where to say, okay, this is all what I'm able to do, and I need to take care of myself. Now I need to build my resources up. Okay.
Exactly. We are human beings. Before being therapists, we are human beings.
Yes, yes. So
we are normal people.
We can also, I'm coming back to the topic of your lecture in a few months, that we can also make a special contact with with a good prosodic to ourselves. We can sometimes say ourselves, oh, it's a good time not to go anywhere, you can do it. So this is also about empathy for ourselves.
Yeah, because we have inner dialogues, you know, of us, and sometimes we are not so good with us. We started to say, oh, I am idiot, something like that. So what kind of charge I am creating for my own nervous system if I say bad things?
Yes.
You know, so I have compassion with others. Why I cannot have compassion with myself? So observe my thoughts, observe what I think or what I say for myself, because there is inner dialogue almost all the time.
Yes.
And we have to have a positive communication with ourselves, motivation.
Yes, and also positive motivation and warm.
Yeah.
Liane,
softies with
yeah, I would be able to talk to you more minutes and more, but I guess let's say that this is that this is it.
Yeah.
And we can invite people from Poland for your lecture that will be quite soon. And I know that you will be also giving some supervisions, group supervisions in Poland for Polish SE practitioners with translations. So this is one step, the lecture is one step of you in Polish SE family, and we will have some more also. And I'm very glad for the possibility to meet you again and again.
Thank you, Beata.
Thank you for the interview, for the speaking, and we welcome our SE Polish family for your lecture soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the possibility.